Hi there. In this video, we're going to run through how to set up your audiences in Facebook ads as well as your audience segments so that you can essentially break down campaign data into your different audience segments. So engaged, existing, and new customer audience. So the first thing we'll need to do here is actually set up the audiences themselves. So the first thing to do is head into the audience section. So on the sidebar here, click on audiences, and then you'll get taken to this audience section here where you can essentially see any existing audiences that have already been created in your account. Now, in this case, we're going to create a new audience. And let's say we want to create our existing customer audience to obviously align with this breakdown here. So we've got existing customer audience, engaged audience, and then new audience. So you can obviously decide how best to define your existing customers, engaged audience, and then your new audience. Your new audience will obviously just be anyone who doesn't fall into these two categories. In terms of existing customers, I'd only recommend allocating purchase lists to this. So for example, your Klaviyo customer list synced through from Klaviyo or whatever email platform you use. And just to tie this into the meta campaign structure video that I recorded previously, I've linked that in the video description as well if you want to take a look at that. So in terms of audience definitions, existing customers, I'd highly recommend just doing your customer list and then 180-day purchases. These are tracked through the website pixel installed on your website. In terms of engaged users, I'd recommend setting this as 180-day visitors. You can potentially add, Facebook engagement, Instagram engagement, email subscribers as well if you'd like. Obviously, just decide what defines your engaged user best and then set the audiences in your audience breakdown section accordingly. And then as mentioned, new customers are anyone who doesn't fall into the above two categories. So just for the sake of this video, let's create a 60-day purchase audience and then a 60-day visitor audience as well. So to do that, just hit create audience up at the top over here, and then we're going to create a custom audience. Then from there, you'll be redirected to this page. So just hit website and then hit next, and that'll take you into this section here where you can essentially define your custom audience. So you'll need to select your pixel up the top here. Obviously, I can't show that for this video. And then you'll need to select the specific event that you want to track as your purchase. So in this case, the specific event that we want to track in terms of defining your audience. So in this case, we're going to do purchases. So hit the drop down and then select purchase down the bottom here, and then select the window in terms of the days that you want to essentially expand that data range back into. So for this case, obviously we're creating a 60-day audience, so we can change that to 60 days, and then we'll just give that an audience name. So let's just say in this example, call that TB purchases 60 days. Don't worry about a description, and then you can hit create audience there. Then as you can see here, after you have created that audience, you'll see your audience up the top over here, and it'll say populating. So Facebook's essentially kind of finding those users, classifying them, and then grouping them into an audience so that you can use that in your ads manager. You can see the definition of that audience down over here, the name, and then the estimated size over there. So that's the 60-day purchaser audience. Let's do the same for the visitor audience. Then to create that visitor audience, obviously follow the same process. So hit create audience and then custom audience, and then select website, hit next. Then as you can see here, we've already got website visitors selected. So you can just change that to 60 days, give that a name. So we can just call that TB website visitors 60 days, and we should be good to go. So just hit create audience. And there you go. So you got your two audiences here. You got 60-day visitors, 60-day purchases. Obviously the same definition down over here. Now we need to essentially assign these specific audiences to the different audience segments in advertising settings to essentially be able to break down, what metrics are coming from these audiences in the ads dashboard, as I showed in this example here. So to get to advertising settings, just click on this little megaphone or megaphone setting on the side here, advertising settings, and then come over to audience segments here and click on that. And then that'll bring up this section here where you can essentially define your engaged and existing audiences by inputting certain audiences into these two sections. So in this definition section, I've already assigned relevant audiences to each of these sections. But if you wanted to assign one of the audiences that we've just created, type the name in the search bar. So 60, and as you can see there, we can choose between 60-day visitors or 60-day purchases. In this case, we'd obviously assign the 60-day visitors to the engaged audience, and then essentially follow this exact same process, but for the existing customers, and assign the 60-day purchases to that audience. Obviously, we wouldn't normally do 60 days, but I've already created the 90 and 180-day audiences, which are these audiences here, using a different naming convention. But this is obviously just to explain the concept. So after this, once you've assigned your audience, just hit confirm, and then that'll finish that whole process for you. I'm obviously going to hit cancel here to keep the current setup. So that's everything I wanted to mention in this video. Hopefully that should outline the whole process clearly for you. If you have any questions, leave those in the comments. Hopefully this was valuable, and thanks for your time.